There. Oh, I had to push the button.
How are
Sorry
you?
about that.
That's all right.
I mean, crap.
It's okay. You can cuss. I'm used to it. Not a big.
Whew. Well, okay. If not, you're gonna have to revert your ear because there's every once in a while, about every 10 or 15 words, it comes out.
Oh no, I did a whole montage of fighters' favorite curse words, and I curse all the time. In fact, you got to tell me your favorite curse word now.
Well, I think really, I mean, obviously, fuck. I mean, because it goes with so many things.
Right.
It's perfect. It's a good starter. You can really emphasize on it, and like really where it's like, you can get mad and say "fuck you," or like, yeah. But like my biggest one, like even across, if I were to have a headstone, everybody's like, "No, we're gonna do it," but it's gonna say "fuck yeah," because it's just like, it's just, well,
That's
that's
amazing.
fine.
That's a good one. Well, you
So,
have a fight coming up. Can you talk to me a little bit about it? What did you think when you got the opponent and just what do you think the fight's going to be like?
so I was really excited. I smoked that dude back in January pretty quick. um, And so I didn't feel like I had even gotten in a fight. So I was like, man, really didn't scratch that itch. I'm very active as a fighter. Typically, I fight, 5+ times a year. And so I asked BYB or BKB now to keep me busy. And so they're able to. As soon as I call them, like, hey, Myrtle Beach, like I want on that card, which is, I love that place. Um, so they were like, okay, well, there's this. I'm like, well, I'm looking to fight in different weight brackets. Anyway, so he's like, well, that's a little more versatile. We can definitely keep you more busy that way. So when he was like, yeah, I got these two guys. I'm like, if you know me, I'm like, all right, cool. Just line it up. Whoever doesn't make shit to me. Um, and I said, actually, so I said, let me cut down because I usually walk about 220 to 223 is about where I walk at. Um, and it's steady going up. I'm trying to build muscle, so that's kind of a big thing for me. But I was like, yeah, I said, hey, going down to the beach, let's do the lower weight class. Leg kind of cut up and look okay out there on the beach.
I was just going to say,
But
look nice in a bikini.
yeah, that way, if I wear my dead throws,
Yeah.
then we'll be good. So,
So what do you,
but
oh,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what do you think of your opponent now that you've settled on one?
Well, I'd heard the name because he was on a card that I was on, and I was like, yeah, whatever, like whoever. But I looked him up, and he was the different opponent than what I thought. Um, but I watched his fights, and I was like, okay, like, all right, no problem. You know what I mean? Like I just go back to being a dad and get my life, my shit straight, and just keep training and like I do, and look at it. I pop back and look at him a couple other times to kind of develop a game plan. So that's kind of really that's really it. I wasn't impressed. I don't ever mean to like be rude or disrespectful that way, but um, I think that I think it'll go in my favor. But I like that he likes to bring it too, so I'm excited about that. And we'll see. That's all we can do. You never know. You never know whose night it's going to be, but I'm very confident that it's going to be my night.
You
So
mentioned that your last fight, you didn't get to scratch the itch. And I know every fighter obviously wants that highlight, crazy moment, quick win, and then especially, getting out without injury to yourself. But there is some plus to fighting, having a brawl, right? Like, do you
yeah,
see, you obviously see some. I think, which do you prefer? I mean, there's probably pluses and minuses to both.
I mean, who likes to work overtime? You know what I mean? You're going in there for a set pay for a set price, so it's like I can get the same amount if I finish it in 3 seconds or 5 seconds, or I can finish it in 20 minutes. So I personally like the way that it went last time, but it's better on my head, on my body. I'm 38. You know what I mean? I'm no spring chicken anymore. So, um, but it's okay. I feel young. I feel good. I've had surgeries. rejuvenated and recovered really well and learned how to properly do it. And then also with the teachings that I do with kids and adults and, athleticism and stuff. So that helped out too. So it's been good actually. So I prefer I prefer it shorter.
Yeah. I figured that might be the case.
And it's kind of, I guess it's whatever.
Yeah.
You could turn that into an innuendo all you want.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, there you are. But
Give me a minute.
yeah. Yep.
So, do you do any kind of a special preparation to fight in the Trigon? Because I know it's a unique surface. Some fighters say they don't do anything different. Some have, like roped out the actual space. What's your training like in terms of the Trigon?
So the very first time that I was actually going to go in the Trigon, I actually got the measurements and I did rope it off and that way I can kind of see, but it doesn't change my style. So I don't change anything. Like I like to be, if we were in a fucking phone book, or a phone, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be happy. One foot in the tire, I would be happy. You know what I mean? Like I like to be in tight and I like to throw everything really close distance. So, I try to always get in there and keep the distance close and been really learning and making sure that I cut off properly to where I'm not leaving myself exposed. So it's good. I like the Trigon. That's one of the biggest reasons, one of them of why I really like BKB. I mean, they treat you good. And so, it's a combination of a lot of things, but I love the Trigon and I love being able to get in there and keep it all tight, where they can't get away. If they try to get away, they end up locking themselves in a corner. So
Yeah, it's fun to watch too. It's definitely something different and exciting. How did you find your way there? Which was your path to get to BKB?
So actually, so I've been fighting as of March 17th at March 20 years. So it's a big time for me. I wanted to celebrate, but now I got this fight coming up, so I'll celebrate after. But it was a 20-year anniversary of me fighting since my first walk professionally, to where where I was getting paid for it. And when I first heard bare knuckle was kind of coming back, I was like, what? Like that's my jam. Because I love MMA. I love fighting in front of my home crowd. That's the biggest thing. That's the only reason why I was still doing MMA even after I started bare knuckle. That and bare knuckle couldn't keep me as busy as I like to stay. This will be my 185th walk, so obviously I stay pretty busy. So my coach was actually flying back from Texas when I was living in Texas. He was flying back and he ran into these people, and he has a big UFC bag because he's trained UFC fighters, and it kind of sparked conversation. They were talking, and it was then being a management team, and they were like, well, hey, he's like, yeah, I'm trying to get one of my fighters in to bare knuckle, and he was like, we have an in, if you're interested. So we kind of worked some things out, and they kind of gave me the grace to get one shot with BYB at the time, and I smoked the dude pretty quick. And it was awesome. I remember that because I haven't had like those nerves or like that little umph in years. Like it doesn't faze me to get in there. So, in order to have that like little butterflies, a little nervous, I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'm game. And it really drew me in and loved it. And then I ended up signing with them, and took a little bit. There I went when I won that world title. Then we renegotiated a contract and re-extended the contract, and my last fight we finished the contract, so we're in talks and we're doing things now. So excited. But
go ahead.
that's where I got in. I got my chance, through this management company that was able to do it, and I've never had a manager. I actually ended up signing with those guys, and didn't last long. I wasn't really too pleased with it, so I remember why I don't do management and I do it myself.
Yeah, that's crazy. 185 walks and no manager.
Yeah. So
Do you remember the first time you ever punched someone, whether it be for, for sport or for, on the playground? I always like to know the first time somebody ever got in a fight.
No, I don't. I got a twin brother, and so we
Oh,
grew up fighting each other. And it wasn't like even growing up, even all through our teenage and adult years, up until I think the last fight we got in was on our 21st birthday. But yeah, up until then, I mean, nobody, nobody could get in the middle of us. You have to let us do our thing, and then, um, don't get in the middle of us, or else we're both turning on you, and then we're going to go back to settle on our shit. So,
does
but
he
yeah,
fight
so
professionally?
he used to. Yes, ma'am. He used to fight. And so I fought for years before, and then he kind of was like, "Hell, let's see." And then he went out and he still had a lot of aggression, which was good. He had that like go get it. So he'd go out there and put it on people real quick, just like I do. And then I kind of started to lose that when I started actually training. It took me about 9 years, 10 years, and then I actually finally started training. When I started fighting guys that were out of UFC, and I got all the way up to the higher level in Utah, the highest level of fighting the best guys that would fly people in, all without training. And then I started training when I was losing to stupid shit, as far as like rear naked chokes and simple things. I'm like, oh, if I'd have known that, So I just kind of spiraled into it and really, grew a good following, good fan base, and just fell in love with it. I could fight and not get in trouble for it. So
Yeah.
it was good.
So I'd like to ask some fun, non-fight related questions at the end here. So hopefully you can find some fun answers for these. What is something that people don't know about you?
Hmm.
It's
I
always,
mean, there's a lot of stuff. Um, well, obviously I'm a twin, which a lot of people know that. But the reason why I got into fighting was I was kind of a troubled youth. Um, and the judge said, next time he sees me in here, then I'm either going to throw the book at you. So I hadn't been back for, for any assault charges, any violence, or anything like that. Another thing is I started my own thing as far as training people, training kids, doing athletic training, and then also self defense stuff. And also I help businesses. I mean that's I don't know, like I don't know. There's a lot that
yeah.
a lot of people don't know, but yeah, I help businesses. We go in and we do like a business analysis, a cost analysis, and then we help businesses save money.
Wow.
So yeah, um, like as big or small, like we've helped, lots of businesses so far. I mean, me personally, quite a few, but
So do you like
so,
math?
uh, I was actually really good at math. Growing up, my teacher would actually get mad because they always thought I was cheating, because like back, that's when they very first started like, oh, you got to show your work. And, I'm like, but I would sit there and I would just look at the problem and I'd write down the answer. So he thought I was cheating. And then, I said, no, we'd get up in front of the class. And he's like, all right, Jerome, come up here, because he was trying to, be an ass to me. And he'd write the thing. He said, okay, give me the answer to that. I'd look and I'd just do it. And I'd write the answer. And he'd look at me. He's like, all right, now this one. It kept getting harder. And he's like, I don't see how you do that. I'm like, I just break it down in my head. And so that's why it was so hard for me to lay it all out. But so I was, yes, ma'am. I was pretty good. I was decent at math.
Sounds like you're very good at math. I still count on my fingers. So, are you binge watching anything right now? Anything cool?
Um, no, I don't watch TV very rarely. Every once in a while, I'll find one that I'll kind of get into, but I can, I can count on one hand how many times a month I'll sit down and watch my TV because I'm building businesses. I'm trying to get things rolling.
All right. What about if you had to eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? And only that one thing.
Okay, so go back to the last question. the one show that I did like that I like, I binge watched. The last one was Reacher.
Okay.
So that was the last one I did binge watch, and that was, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And then my kiddo, he's like, "Hey, they got a new episode." I'm like, "All right, I'll get to it when I get to it." So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
And then my favorite food, only one food.
Mm-hmm. It has to be the rest of your life.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a hard one. Now, would it just be that one, or would it be like that one mixed with other stuff? Like it has to have that in it.
Just that
I mean,
one thing. Like pizza. You could have pizza but different toppings, but
hmm. So if I did steak, I could have like steak and eggs.
no.
Hmm.
But you could have different types of steak. So you could have like a T-bone or a sirloin.
Man, that's a hard one because you want to do something more versatile, something that's. Damn, that is a good question. Yeah, probably. Man, I mean, I can come up with some shit with steak. Let's go with steak.
I feel like steak's
Yeah.
a good answer. I have nobody's answered that yet. Everyone's like ice cream or like something.
Yeah, no, that fucks my guts up. I really wish I could. Yeah, but don't worry. Don't get me wrong. I will treat myself here and there.
Yeah.
I'll get a good banana split. But yeah, that's really it. I'm not really much into sweets too much either. So yeah.
Do you have like a post-fight ritual that you do when you win? Like I've heard some people get like the biggest brownie they can, or some people do something, go shopping.
Hi, it's my little boy. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
He's like, Dad.
Cute.
But post fight ritual. Uh, Honestly, I like to have me a drink. I like to have a crown, like a crown and Sprite. So I'd give me a double crown of Sprite and a squeeze of lime. That's probably, yeah. Because I rarely drink, but every once in a while, I just like to just have a drink and just take it in.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time. I really appreciate it. I look forward to watching the fight.
No, thank you very much, and I appreciate you having me on. And guys, just follow me on Instagram, the Hatchet, or all socials, the Hatchet MMA. So I really appreciate your time. Yes, okay, I will. I'll put it in there. And yep, and if you guys need help with your businesses, it's sidekickbd.com. Hit me up.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Have a good day.
Yep, you too. Bye.